Hello, I'm Les Bubka. Some of you might know me, some might not know me. How many instructors we've got here? How many inspiring instructors we have here? How many of you occasionally taking a class or warm up or chats to new students? And yeah, okay, 90%. Alright, so I'm gonna do a other side of the coin to Sensei Craig. He tired you out. I'm gonna be trying to engage your brains. Those who don't know me, it happened by accident. I started the Karate for Mental Health, which John took over, and now he's leading the most of the seminars, which is great. We're trying to work with people to use karate as a tool to improve mental health. I'm working with few organizations in the south, teaching nearly daily people with mental health, disabilities, and so on and so on. I suffer with anxiety as well, so this is stressful. I hope she knows what I mean. So we're going to try to look on some a little bit uncomfortable things. So we're going to do conversation. We're going to split into groups and spin. No, not spinning. We're going to do the groups. We're going to try to improve our behavior and expectation towards the people with disability, mental health, and all sort of other issues, right? If there's something uncomfortable, feel free to skip it. We're adapting everything. You cannot do something, don't do it, right? Like Craig said, you know your body better than I am. I can't mind read yet, but I'm practicing. So I need somebody who is very good with maths for a brain warm-up. Come on, Claire. You've been voluntold. So, those who trained with me before know the drill. It's just I like to accept warming up the body. I think you warm up pretty well. I like to warm up the brains. So we're going to do the super complicated stuff. We're going to be counting to 3. Alright? So we're going to start in a loop. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay? You have a partner? Go with that for a second. Right. So now instead of number 2, we say word yes.
1.
Yes.
2. No.
1.
Yes.
3.
Yes.
1.
Oh my word.
Okay? Try it. So now we're changing the number 3 to the stone. Just don't say stone. Just do that, yeah?
1.
Yes. 1.
Yes. 1.
Yes. Yeah? 1.
Yes. 1.
Yes. 1.
Yes. 1.
Yes. 1.
Yes.
Like that. Hey, satisfied. That's the last one, I promise. So now when we engage the one brain cell in our head, we can do stuff. So recently I've got a lot of people contacting me with questions to advise them how to deal with people with different mental health issues, disabilities, and how to work with them so everybody is engaged. So we do some practical stuff and some stuff I'm going to be talking about, right? But I'm going to ask questions. Don't worry about answering them. There's no such thing as a stupid answer. And under stress, we always have that brain fog that suddenly you know the answer, but you've forgotten it, and you know it soon as somebody else answers, right? So for me, my teaching style changed a lot since I started working with people with mental health issues. And it took me in very uncomfortable places, okay? So I would like you to grab the partner, okay? Now grab the partner so I can see your partner. Now, one of those partners, whole group come here, the other one come there. And we're going to spinning. No. Okay? Remember your partner and just separate yourself because you're going to have a different jobs. Okay? Now, the group from here, come here because we're going to have a meeting. Come closer. You, fingers in your ears so you don't hear what I'm saying. Okay? So what we're going to do is to get people to uncomfortable places, right? So for me, the biggest struggle was when a person comes in, I'm waiting for a class, people come in, I say, how are you? And they tell me, I'm going to die in 2 years. And myself goes into, hey, I meant to say, it's okay, right? And then next step is the people gonna say, it's gonna be all right. When it's not gonna be all right, right? So we're gonna imitate that you come into the dojo. They're asking you, how are you? You say, I'm not well. Whatever reason you want to do, right? Take it to different versions, and we're gonna see how the people gonna respond. Because our kind of automatic response is to waiting for that people tell you, yeah, I'm all right, yeah, good, great, right? We all do that, and then you go that, oh shit, that didn't happen, okay? So you're gonna try how people react. I can't do it the other way because you're gonna not be right? So we're gonna try to do that, okay? So stay here, I tell them what we do. Who has me? Alright, come here. So the situation is that you are instructors in a club, or just friends. There's a group of people coming in. Choose your partner, and your job is to have a conversation with them, starting with how are you, okay? And depending on what they reply, you just conversate with them like you're introducing him to the class, okay? So you're at the door, they're coming in. Hi, how are you? That's your entry point, okay?
Yes.
Grab yourself a partner and let's drill.
Scan every year, and my cancer scan has just come back. Cancer scan. So I lost my right kidney 5 years ago, and now it's looking like there might be something. There's a shadow at the moment. We're going to do some investigation work. That's good news.
Okay.
Can't talk to this,
So yeah.
So you happy with joining?
Hey guys. Guys, come on. We're just gonna chat, right? Don't need to be in the corners. I don't bite much. What was your feedback? The group who said they're not very well, they're potentially gonna be terminally ill. What was your reaction? The people who asking how are you? What was your expectation on how it ended up?
I don't know really. You look shocked. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it got like that wrong delivered.
Yeah, so that happened to me a few times in my dojo and in mental health, and I've been taken aback, right? Because I'm sitting there waiting, I'm gonna get a great session, 12 people comes in, one say, I'm suicidal, I'm depressed, I've got MS, I've got motor neuron disease, got 2 years to live. And I went, no, you meant to say you're fine, and I'm gonna say, oh, let's crack on, right? And then you go, Here is much easier, right? Because you know each other and there's a bit of a laughter, but when you, for your job, standing there and people tell you that, it's like, how do I deal with that? So it took me a long time to just to listen, right? People don't necessarily want you to comfort them. They just want you to acknowledge it, move on, do whatever you do, right?
So I used the approach after the information and said, is there any other physical condition that you have? And
So you went to the stage of
yeah,
instructor.
So are you okay to take it slow?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I want to go for it. And we'll have a great session.
We'll talk about it in a minute. don't jump the gun. So, it's just that be prepared that people who walk into your dojo, they're not necessarily fine, okay? And for me, I need to make accommodation for those people. Some will just sit on a chair. We're going to do a drill for it in a second as well. Some will take part for 5 minutes. Some just want to sit there and watch and don't be disturbed. But you need to get yourself in that mindset of you don't need to comfort people. You just need to sometimes listen to them and acknowledge that, they've got a really bad day. But usually what I noticed after hitting the parts and smashing the parts, they've got a little bit of better mood.
Do you teach children as well?
No, I just got, yeah, just for adults, yeah, right. I imagine with children it'll be even more difficult. But yeah, so my approach is just to listen. Try to avoid. How many of you have an edge to say it's gonna be fine? Because that's usually what came to my mind. People tell me, oh, I'm not very well, it's gonna be fine, right? because we hear that all the time. Oh, it's gonna be fine, don't worry about it. You'll be fine, right? But sometimes it's not gonna be fine, right? So for me, with my, actually one of my good friends from our dojo just been diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and within half a year he's now walking on sticks, and the maximum 2 years, you've got a 3-year-old son. And dealing with that is super difficult because we're going for walks every week and I can do nothing to support him except being there and listen, right? And so many times I catch myself saying something stupid, right? Like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna find a treatment. There is no treatment.
That's what you say. You can't really say it's going to be fine if somebody's just
Exactly.
6 months a day.
But you know, we are kind of conditioned to say that, right? That's what the society expects. It's fine. It's gonna be
more
fine.
for us, isn't it, than for anyone else, you know.
Yeah,
It makes us-
you've got to be very careful about your language. Not. I don't mean swearing. I mean how you phrase things for people, especially people that have got
Yeah.
problems.
So I give you a real life example for me being a not very clever person, and to the same person we're talking, and my daughter was going like that, and I said, oh, she's going like on a death row. Literally I said he's gonna die, right? Totally not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I didn't give myself time to process what I want to say, right? I usually say things before I think, so that's kind of always have to take back and think. So that's kind of one aspect of working with people with mental health. You need to be, you know, if person doesn't have a leg, now you're gonna be running marathons tomorrow, right? Yes, they might do running marathon, but within some kind of rules set and with aid, right? So you need to understand that if you're teaching, you need to be accommodating to people and not just thinking of, I need to move on really quickly to do stuff, okay? Let's change the topic to something more upbeat. So when I'm teaching, I've got few people who cannot do stuff, and we're doing different games, different exercises, and I would like to ask you, how are you doing in your club when you've got the one person with MS who cannot bend down, cannot run, and we want to change the cones game? What would be your way to approach that?
I think I'd have to do a bit more research on MS first to find out
Yeah.
more about the condition, and then ask the individual what
Yeah.
their limits are and what they can do.
So the best thing you can do to adapt things to people with disability is to simply ask them. They know their condition the best, right? You go on Google, you find a million different answers, which might be not wrong. You go to the doctors, and how many people was, oh, let me have a look on Google. What's wrong with you, right? I can do that at home. I've got a wife, she knows everything.
If they're in your club, they've joined your club, presumably when you're training them, you already know their disability. I'd be inclined to say just do what you can.
Yep. So when I was looking for, I probably phrased the question, what we do so that person is included as well.
I would suggest pairing them with somebody who's perhaps not top of your class, top of your student group, because then the differential is too big, and they'll think I'll never be able to do anything.
That's one of the
put them with
choices.
somebody who's perhaps a lower grade or lesser ability, so the difference is not so great.
Yeah, that's one of the ways. Yeah.
Use their brain, for example. If they can't use mobility, they can explain, learn, and maybe help out as well. Be a part of the class by helping out by saying that's too low, that's too high. You know,
Yeah.
Being interactive with them.
Yeah,
Some of them are non-verbal work.
Yeah.
We're done the task.
Just the MS at the moment. As an option.
Yeah, so what we try to do, so it's everybody is included in exercises. That doesn't mean they have to do the exercise, right? If I've got a deaf girl, she cannot be punched in the head. We're doing sparrings. She's involved in sparrings. Like this. She's involved in sparring. She's involved in sparring timing, keeping the scores, recording if you want to. So give your students some kind of task to do, so they are within the group, but not necessarily doing the same things as they do, right? Then you've got the different approaches to different, you know, if you've got somebody with short of sight, you're gonna use the connection all the time, right? If you want to teach them stances, you might put the coins and tape them on so they feel where their foot meant to be, right? My father-in-law is got one arm available, So we adapting techniques from one side. Maybe he can't kick because of his operations on the legs and stuff like that. So you're finding the ways that he can adapt it, right? If somebody's got a bad back, they won't be throwing, they won't be kicking. So you're changing mawashigeri to the hook punch, right? So it is nice to start thinking outside of the box, right? But you can ask people, right? Craig, you suffer with epilepsy, right?
Yes.
What would be the best course for me to avoid you having a seizure? Probably
I
punching.
think as long as you're not running a class at about 4 in the morning, that's a good one.
No danger of that.
I'd just have to be, it's more about me being communicative. So if I'm having a particularly off day, it's more about me checking in and making you aware that there's a possibility.
But probably punching you in the head for 45 minutes a session is another good
Yeah,
idea.
it's probably going to make me a bit off, yeah.
Right? As well, you need to change your rules, right? How many of us been in a traditional dojo where there's no eating, no drinking for the whole hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
What if you've got a diabetic? And you do a session like Craig done. Now you cannot go and eat your sweetie. Okay. Waiting for ambulance, right? Knowing where your defibrillators are. Having your first aid kit. That's really important stuff, right? How many of you knows where your stuff is in the dojo? Glad to hear, glad to know, right? Having that first aid there trained and have it in club is also very important. Now, the approach of training, there are two schools, right? There's that traditional Japanese when they're standing with the sticks and hitting you and bashing you and everything happens. That works for some people don't like it, some people like it. Can I use it? So, if I'm training with Annie, let's say we're gonna do the throws, right? And I'm gonna go and throw her, and I'm gonna smash her on the floor. That she's gonna get hurt, right? Versus, I'm gonna throw her nicely, and she's not gonna get hurt. Which one gonna be better for her? Second one. Well, there are some people who like, ooh, I'm injured, awesome. I'm one of those. So the approach to your teaching, right? If the students have fun, is more likely to do that thing again and do it better, right? And actually, I was talking yesterday with Joe Andrews from Somerset Karate, and we've been talking about teaching styles as well. And you've got a teacher who, let's do a joint lock. So she grabs me here, I'm doing joint lock here, I'm going here, and she now has to do it on me. Yes, yeah. Why are you not doing it properly? It's so simple. It's super simple, right? Versus, oh, that's awesome, but you could tweak stuff here, there, and there. I'm not saying she's doing it wrong, just an example. That feedback, instead of having a negative feedback, who puts your students down, having a positive feedback. But you have to remember cultural aspects, right? I'm coming from Poland, and it took me a long time to change, because in Poland you're pointing at negative things before you praise, right? So 10 years you didn't, oh, that's crap, that's bad, and then you might get the praise. So I think it's style of Japanese methodology, but the cultures are different. In UK, that style of teaching is not setting very well, at least in my experience, right? So we try to always motivate people, especially with the people with the low self-esteem and stuff like that. If you start pointing, they're not going to come back to your club, right? Other thing is overcoaching, right? If I start doing, let's do a shutoke, I'm going to go, actually let's start here. I'm going to grab, here, turn, pull, push. And I'm going to start telling Annie that you need to have this finger 35.3 degree versus 34.73, this one, moving this one, move your foot there, move my hand, don't look down, look up. It's lost, right? Instead of just saying, push my hand and do the lock, right? This, yeah, can be done that way, right? This is oversimplification. But you need to give them something they understand. And I see that a lot, and I've been doing that for years, over-coaching. Because we care. We want to give people that the best advice they have. But more you multi-layer in it, the worse it gets. because you're just simply not able to compute. You're stressed already because you don't know how to do it, and somebody keeps putting more and more and more to remember, and your brain goes, "Meh." Right? I think we all had that before, didn't you? Yeah. So keep it simple. Let them try first time. I like to do it, and my students keep telling me, "Oh, but he didn't do this." Right? Like kicking, but he didn't do this. Okay, let them kick a few times so they get a feel for it, and then we're gonna gradually start improving the kicks, right? Instead of just going to them, turn your foot here, bend your knee, lift the knee, turn, kick, kime, hands, focus, think about winning, motivation, right? One of you, John touched on it, right? If I've got the people who are with the learning disabilities, very important is my language. I cannot do very flowery, not that I can anyway, but very flowery, complicated language. Right? Maybe that's why I've got the success, because I'm simple, just say how it is. But if you use the very complicated language, people might not understand you at all. Some of you know Danny, my autistic student. We cannot do jokes with him because he takes them literally, right? He just goes, "Okay, that's what we're doing." Yeah. But no, we just joke about, right? As well, if you give a comment, don't give them in metaphors, right? Because people with autistic people will not get what I mean. They're gonna take you literally, right? So yeah, you come in here, grab the throat, and well, I mean just push them down, right? It's gonna go ripping the throat out. So
it could be something simple. I mean, I do a lot with people with learning disabilities. Step forward. No, step forward. Change legs. It's as simple as that.
I usually say the other right. The other right.
That's you, it's the other left usually.
As well, I've done this a lot. I've got the people with hard of hearing, right? So imagine you are hard of hearing. It's like now we're going, right? Most of them rib bleed. Although they taught me some BSL, so British Sign Language, one essential thing. Bullshit. But it took me a lot of time because when I was younger, I lost my teeth at 16, so I developed a habit before they could do my dentures and so on. I was laughing like this, right? And habit of talking like this a lot. And I've got my deaf students said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Why? Because you keep putting your hand on mouth, right? And a lot of people does that, saying things like this, right? If people can't see you, can't read your lips, it's not easy to read my lips because I've got accent. I didn't know that the lips do accent. So when I say things, it doesn't come clear to her. So it's a lot of funny miscommunications, right? Like sending a whale through the mail. I can't remember a conversation, but it stuck to my head. So why are you sending whale through the mail? Well, I didn't. And as well, the one thing I think that is a key for me is to take yourself lightly, right? Have a laugh at yourself, show your vulnerability. Because, people coming into dojo are stressed, straight come in, especially for women, right? They're coming in, see all the blokes and the geese smashing stuff. It's very, very stressful. And showing that vulnerability helps a lot, right? I tell people who are coming in to my dojo that, I suffer with an anxiety. I know how you're feeling, I know it's stressful. Come in. You want to spar, you spar. You don't want to spar, you don't spar. You want to do kata. So choose stuff, right? So again, that's my approach. And that's, I'm helping people to do that more in their dojos. So I don't know if that's interesting for you or not. Any questions?
What has been the most difficult sort of skill that you've had to learn in terms of your communication?
Listen to people. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. The problem is, at least for me and to people who I spoke, is that we are predicting what we're going to talk about, right? How many of you going somewhere? Oh, you're going to ask me this, I'm going to say this, then he's going to ask this, right? I try to stop the game. I'm not the person you probably noticed yesterday in the pub. Small talk comes for me at a lot of expense. So recently I accepted that I'm just going to sit there and shut up and listen what people say and enjoy company without being a active member. As well, showing that vulnerability was very difficult. We've been in with Master Ken, Christian, and Ian on a castle party in the evening. 200 people, everybody screaming, shouting, and you try to stay with people coming to you, chatting. Oh, you Les? We've chatted. Yeah, okay. Half an hour later, I can't deal with this. I'm going to my room. Yeah? Too many people, too many questions, too many personal stories. For some reason, my English is not great with the loud music. I really struggle to hear what people are saying, so it's just a mental overload. Be happy with saying that, no, I don't want it, right? As well in our dojo, just popped into my head.
What about accents?
Yeah, it's funny, I said to John yesterday, when we come back, sorry John, I didn't talk, but I really struggle with understanding Matty and actually Dave. It's like...
We all do things.
I don't understand your attitude.
So, but when you look at me, you don't see that, it takes me a lot of mental power to actually listen to somebody and not be rude to saying all the time, sorry, what do you say? What do you say? And I've got that the same with my accent. Some people say, I don't understand, especially British people, they start talking to me slower and louder for some reason, like I remember. But showing that vulnerability that, you don't want to do something, it's a skill, right? Lots of people go to training with dangerous partners because they don't want to upset them, right? So on my seminars, I didn't say that today because we're not doing stuff, but I think John is the same. If you don't want to train with somebody for whatever reason, just say no. And for my seminars, I ask people to not ask for the reason, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. Don't trigger that more. Just accept it. The person is not fit to train with you. Move on, train with somebody else, right?
Is there a skill behind identifying that as well? Because you do get some people that aren't willing to sort of speak up on that front.
I'm not sure if it's a personal skill to me. I'm comparing a lot with Christian Vedevar, right? We teach a lot of seminars together, and he's like happy chappy, he doesn't see anything, right? I'm coming in and I instantly pick up, those people that are not well together, they got some kind of problem. You've got a person with self-harming there. Christian says, what are we talking about? Yeah. So some people are tuned better for it, but I think with being submerged in that environment, you start picking up cues and getting more aware of it. It's like, just a second. It's like today we went in. What did I do first?
So we can relax.
Yeah, because you could see her going.
I'm tense.
Oh, I never thought before, So you start picking it up. It just comes more natural, like with everything, right? Practice. Yes.
I was just going to say that I think if the instructor says they've got anxiety and if you've got it as well, it just really helps anyway. Because you know that they understand you exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, exactly is a bit,
not exactly, but
yeah,
they know
but
where you're coming from. They
getting
know,
the gist, yeah.
Sensei Les, just to
Can
share.
you drop the sunset?
Just to share with the
Blushing.
group, a few years ago I was running a self-defense training course. It's a 5-day course.
Mhm.
Start off with basics, structure, like we talk, building up to day 5 when it's chaos. It's scenario-based, sort of different people coming on a subject and dealing with it. And there was a middle-aged lady in the course, and day 1 very quiet, very held back. Day 2 even more quiet. And I was the lead trainer, and I thought, well, where is this going? Is she just not involved? Are we not going to be able to develop this lady? And she came up to me at the end of day 2 and she said, I want to share this with you. She said, I've been subject of sexual and domestic violence for 10 years. She said, no, I was dreading coming on this course, but it was a mandatory course for the job. So I said, okay, can we share that with the other instructors? And she said, yes, but just the instructors. So we had a little conversation. So what I did was, I didn't want to fail her, I didn't want her to not to be included. So when I said, okay, I'm just going to, we did partner work, you're going to be with an instructor rather than with the students. And we coached her, we encouraged her, and we got her through to day 5. And on day 5, we did the big scenario base. And one of the guys was dressed up in what we call a fist suit, with a protection suit. And just like Sensei Craig was doing, a sort of bit of aggression, bit of full on. And this lady, she needed to help a partner, and suddenly it clicked. And she went in, she was on the back of this aggressor, brought him down with a knee, and was screaming like a banshee. And at the end of it, she passed the course, and at the end of it, she came up and she said, do you know what? She She said, I've turned a milestone in my life. For me, this course has made all the difference, and I can now go forward. And it was that, I think the point I'm trying to make is, if you get something like that and you recognise it in your student group, is not to think we can't take that person down the road. It's just taking that person at a slower pace.
Yeah, it's perfect example of adaptations, right? You spotted it, you spoke with her, you addressed her need to what needs to be done, and then she executed and changed her mind, right? So perfect example, couldn't be better, right? But you have to have that mindset of I want to know what's behind that's stopping you, instead of being a sensei going, hey, ni, san, li, doesn't matter, right? That's why I don't like when people saying, oh, we need to be professional teachers, don't make a bond with your students. My students are all my friends, right? There are some disadvantages to it, right? You might get too personal with people, it depends what you like. But being like a wall, you know, you come in and you cannot talk to me because I'm a teacher, and you know, don't ask questions, don't do that. For me, it doesn't work, right? There's many ways to skin the cat, if that's what you like to do, but you know, I like to be inclusive, I like to be approachable, I don't like titles, everybody calls me Les in the dojo, except one student who come from Aikido is persistent, yes sir. But yeah, I feel uncomfortable. It's part of, you know, my biggest fear in anxiety was judgment, right? So when people come to me and say, hello sensei, this and this, it puts in my mind that people put high expectations of me, right? I'm just a simpleton who's training a little bit longer with different things, and you know, it is what it is, right? And well, kind of. Any more questions? No, okay. I think that. Yeah. So, no reason to